I'm back from Sedona, and I have my good friend Laura Belgray here. Welcome, Laura.
Hi. Thank you so much, Ted. I don't think I've heard you say your last name before, or I have, but this time I was paying attention. And every time I see it on the page, I pronounce it a different way in my head. So now I know Padromo. Padr-
See,
Padromo, right?
Europeans get it right
Padromo.
99% of the time. Everybody else just
Greeks,
magically.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. The U throws everybody off. They think it's French, and they try to add some more letters to it.
And a little r,
Right.
Padromo. Yeah.
I'm just Ted, whatever.
I'm just Laura. Hi.
Yeah. So I've been through kind of a wild ride this year, and because of you.
I will take full blame. I love it. I mean, you're also to blame in your prolificness and your drive. So tell me, I want to hear about this wild ride
Okay,
since
well,
we
we met
last
a couple
talked.
of years ago. You spoke at Copy Chief Live, and your inbox hero was coming out, so I invested in that. And I've done well with my email list, but I'd maybe once a month I'd email, or once a week, or maybe once every 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And I said, here's how to update your LinkedIn profile. Click here, like boring. So I learned from you to tell stories, and here's my inbox hero I printed
Oh,
out.
it gives me all the feels seeing it printed out in a binder. Thank you.
Yeah. So I started writing 5 emails a week, and my list was totally engaged. And they kept saying, I can't wait for your next email. What happened to you? What changed? I said, well, I invested in this course. But what happened is I was on Zoom calls 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. My
Good
business was
Lord.
booming.
Yeah.
And my wife retired, and she's like going to play pickleball and hanging out with the girls. And I'm here on Zoom calls all day. And I'd like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. So about a
And
month
so,
ago, I just said, I
mhm.
sent an email saying, I'm taking a break. I'm taking the summer off. And
and and and I'm sure people were so supportive too.
totally.
Yeah.
I totally
Um,
get it.
Yes, and your list is, like, rallying for you, they are all on your team, in your corner.
Yeah.
So and probably really inspired by that idea, like, okay, you go too hard, you get too successful, you hit a wall. They're probably all saying, "I would love to get so successful and so booked up that I hit that wall too." So they're probably taking a page out of your book and writing emails
Yeah.
to their list. I hope you've spread the fever for it.
Yeah. No, a lot of people are very interested in, like, how did you do that? What happened? What's going to happen? We want more emails from you. We want your help. So I'm just
Right.
kind of letting it come to me, whatever. And that's what Sedona was great because, you've been to Sedona. It's
Yes,
like
I have.
magical.
Yeah, I was actually there during, like, there was a snowstorm. It was in February. It was supposed to, like, we had all packed for warm weather. I was there on a mastermind retreat with Marie Forleo, and it turned out being freezing, and I didn't get a real taste of the Sedona magic. I was also told at the time, we're in a vortex here, and I was like, "What the hell is a vortex? I have no idea what you're talking about." I was not, in the I've never, shouldn't say never. Now I would consider myself woo adjacent, but I was never really caught up in the woo, clued in on the whole vortex thing and all the spiritual um, powers and
Well,
supposed
there's
effects of
7
Sedona.
vortexes there.
Oh my gosh. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot of vortexes. So have you found yourself in a vortex when you go there?
You do feel relaxed, I guess, because you're on
Yeah.
vacation,
Uh-huh.
and it's just so beautiful.
Right. Right.
And
Does
just
it
being away from the computer. The best thing last week was the internet was so bad where we were staying, I couldn't even check email.
Oh, that's pretty great. That's a nice vortex to be in. I love that.
Yeah,
But, in the past, that would like, right now, you were ready for that when you were in your email jag, like, really caught up in the swing of it.
yeah,
That was probably frustrating for you to go there or maybe you liked taking the week off. I think the magic of being consistent and prolific is that you can do that and people don't forget who you are or um, get resentful when you come back
yeah.
to the to their inboxes. But once you started writing them, kind of religiously, I mean, 5 days a week is a lot. And I love that it caught on so much. And I guess what happened was people started booking you right and left, right? Like you would put an occasional or regular call to action. Did you make it regular or occasional in your emails?
2 or 3 times a week, I'd add a footer with like, "Hey, do a laser coaching session with me," or "I'm doing a new course," or "Buy my
Yeah,
book."
right, right. How did it do did it increase book sales?
Every time I posted, they'd buy the book. Some people would buy the book.
Incredible. So everyone who's an author should be writing regularly to an email list, wouldn't you say?
Oh,
And
yeah.
everyone who has a business, whether they are selling a physical product or services, consulting, any kind of expertise, especially for that, stories are great. And your
And what I
stories
learned from
didn't.
you is
Oh, yeah,
schedule, have a
tell me.
schedule. You do 3
Yeah.
times a week. I was,
Mm-hmm.
like, totally
Right.
random.
Yes. I mean, I think it's also okay to be totally random if you are frequent. And if your randomness is frequent, if it's like, once a month and then once every 6 months and then once a week for a little bit and then once a day, then that's too random. But if you switch from like Monday, Wednesday, Friday to Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday one week, or happen to do four that week, I think that kind of randomness is just fine.
Yeah.
Like nobody really notices. They're just used to hearing from you and they like to keep hearing from you. But
And in the
I,
past, I was always
yeah.
selling something when I sent an email. I wasn't building relationships or telling stories.
Right, exactly. You weren't like providing quote unquote value.
Right.
And I think some people think that value has to come in the form of actionable takeaways, like here are 3 tips. And it doesn't. There are all kinds of value that you started bringing people with your emails, whether it's being relatable and making them feel less alone. Like,
Mhm.
oh, that happens to me too. So they feel connected with you and they feel just a moment of, yeah, they feel connection and less like a weirdo or
Right.
it's a good feeling to relate to something, when people say so relatable, that's them feeling good, it's them feeling seen. So that's one kind of value that you were providing. Another was, I'm sure, information and help with like guidance with LinkedIn. That's your expertise. But it
Mhm.
was not always about LinkedIn. It was not always about your expertise. So it would just be, things that happened to you, something about your vacation, something that your wife said, right?
Right.
What do you
My
think was
grandson, we have a new grandson that just turned 1.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah.
And it's your wife's birthday, right?
Exactly.
Yes. Happy birthday to her. So what do you think was your most popular email ever? Do you know? Like the one that got the most engagement and or the most sales, and if they're two different ones, or the most reactions. Like what have been your most successful emails, do you think?
Well, the one I got the most response, it was actually 30 years ago next week. We were at Lake Tahoe camping and we're driving home. My daughter was like 18 months and I fell asleep at the wheel and drove off a 100-foot cliff. And my
Did
wife was
you
pregnant with my son and we had my nephew in the back of the minivan. It was
I
like
c
super slow motion, rolling out of control, and we were all fine.
Oh my God. I didn't see that email. I'm floored right now. Yeah, I can imagine that would have a big impact, that one.
Yeah.
And did you write it all in one email or was it a to be continued?
It was more just one email. I still have visions of that going off that cliff 30 years later.
What was because obviously you didn't just tell the story like we went off a cliff and we survived and here I am writing you an email. That was not the point of the story. What meaning did you extract from it? What was your point? How did it arc?
I was like the network manager working 80 hours a week. And that's when I said, I need a break. I need to step away from this career because I'm going to literally kill my family.
Oof.
So that's kind of when I started my consulting after that.
So that's kind of the origin story
Yeah.
of your
I'm here
consulting.
for some bigger reason,
Yeah.
whatever
So
that is.
you had a true near-death moment,
Yeah.
and um, uh, it's lucky in all ways. Lucky that you survived. I mean, beyond lucky, and also great to have. It's just fortunate to have a story like that
Mhm.
to tell, and like it's such an emotional story to have as your origin story. Not everyone has that. Like,
I don't
and
recommend it.
no, no, and a lot of people, nobody wishes that on themselves. Nobody wishes that they would go over a cliff or have a rock bottom moment or, big epic, whether it's tragedy or near tragedy. Nobody wishes for that, but at the same time, a lot of people wish that they had something that big to tell, that
Right.
kind of huge story to tell in their emails and their bio and all that kind of stuff. What do you recommend? Like, did you also find that you had success with the little moments, writing about those in your emails, like
You know,
everyday stuff?
the ones that really get a lot of response when I tell stories about my clients and their success, their breakthroughs.
Yes. So that's a huge opportunity to showcase people's success in a non-salesy way. It doesn't always have to be in a testimonial with quotes around it.
Right.
Sometimes email gives you a chance to do it in storytelling form.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you about so and so.
Yeah. Stories. I'm getting really good at telling stories. So I want to write another book now that's not LinkedIn related.
Oh, do you
I don't
know
know
what it's
what
going to
that
be?
is. I don't know
Mhm.
what it is, but it's like this is so boring writing technical stuff. I've written 4 technical books.
Right, and, which is a huge accomplishment, and I love that the stories that you tell now in your emails have been selling those books.
Yeah.
It was like such a great moment when I asked if it sold your books, and you're like, every time I write an email, it sells a book, because books are hard to sell, especially long after the pub date. Like it can be an event when it comes out, but then
Yeah.
uh, it can be a slog, and I haven't even done it yet for my own book, but I know that I'm gonna be relying on email and on my list
Right.
when my book does come out. It comes out a year from now, and I know I'm gonna want those people to buy it. Like, those are gonna be the people who buy it. Those are gonna be the people I can count on, is the people who I connect with in email.
Yeah.
Social is, you know, it's it's all well and good, and you teach how to use social media.
And you've been
But when you
teasing your book for quite a while, little hints
oh
here and there, and
god, I'm
I
so
can't wait
tired of
to read it.
I'm sure everyone is tired of this buildup of hearing me talk about it because I started going out with it in, well, I was working on it in 2019 and probably talked about writing back then. 2020 is when I went out with it with a proposal and,
Yeah.
first pitched to agents and then and then worked on the proposal. And so I was talking about it then, and then I sold it and I talked about it then, and then it got put in publishers marketplace, talked about it then. So it's been such a long time. It's
And
the
now you have to
process
actually
can be
write
quick.
it.
And then, right. Well, now I've written it. Now I'm in edits, and I'm like, that is
Okay.
just way too boring to talk about." But I have to say, it's a way different thing from writing emails, and it makes the email process feel even easier by comparison. It was already a kind of a natural thing, but
Yeah.
a book is, a book has to connect. It has to arc from the beginning to the end, no matter what you're writing, even if it's separate stories, right? Separate
Mhm.
anecdotes. Emails can be totally disconnected. Today's doesn't have to connect at all to tomorrow's or to Wednesday's or to right. So the pressure is off. You can sit down and write one little nugget of story, and you don't have to think of like, how does this fit into the big picture? You don't even have to think about how does this fit into my business. It can be just like, this is going to entertain my audience. This is going to bring them something. This is going to make them feel a certain way. It might
Mhm.
shift their perspective. It might inspire them to do something new. It might make them feel less alone. It might just distract them and give them a laugh or a smile. But That's all you have to set out to do. You don't always have to be selling something. You don't always have to be directing them to with a link. It can be sometimes the call to action can be hit reply and let me
Right.
know what you think. And those people are your hardcore fans. Like they become more hardcore
Yeah.
the more emails they read, right?
What I really enjoy is when I write an email that's really from my heart and it connects with people and they reply, and says, "Thank you so much. I really needed that."
Yes. Right. I needed to read this today. I needed
Yeah.
to hear this today. I think that that is the greatest gift that you can give people, and you have a chance to do it every single time you write an email. And it's a gift to you too, because first of all, it lets you know what you have to say sticks with people, what resonates. It's don't you find it's often something that you're like, oh, I gosh, I dashed that off. I didn't really know if it would land
Right.
with anybody, right? And
Or other ones
it's
you think it's gonna really land, no one says anything.
right. Right, exactly, which is what makes it so important to write regularly and prolifically
Yeah.
because you can't predict what you can spend all your time polishing this one gem that you have, and often often it's like cricket. Really? Nobody like, did that go through? You start checking your, whether it's a social post or an email or whatever. And when you're cranking stuff out regularly every day, usually it turns out to be the stuff you didn't think would land. You didn't know if it was anything. It was just
Yeah.
writing somebody a note felt like the most casual dashed off things turn out to be the, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sending this today. This is
Yeah.
exactly what I needed to hear. Right.
And that's what I feel when I read your emails, like you're talking directly to me personally. That's huge.
Thank you. That's an art form, and which one that I think you've picked up as well. I don't know if it's from my emails or from Inbox Hero or just it came from you, but
Yeah.
you write them as if they're to one person,
Yeah.
which is a technique I teach.
And when you get into that rhythm, if you're doing it on a regular basis, I could crank those emails out in like 10 or 15 minutes when I was doing it every
Right.
day.
Right, which is
And I
amazing.
didn't do extensive editing. I barely even spell checked them. I just
Yeah. Yeah, which is fine. Like they don't have to be perfect. It's okay to make a typo here and there. I think it's a good idea. Like I send mine to my manager Sandra. I do what's called a check and send because first of all, I'm a copywriter. So even though copywriters are not proofreaders, we're not copy editors, people still expect it to be spelled right. And there are certain people who are like, how am I supposed to take you seriously
right.
with, a typo? And I'm like, "Oh, come on." And sometimes typos are like a great excuse for people to engage with you,
Yeah.
right? It like gives them a chance to write back, and you can say, "Thank you so much for for pointing that out." Yes, it's
Yeah.
not very helpful since the email already went out, but um,
But they're paying attention.
yeah, they're paying exactly. It means they're paying attention. So it's a high compliment, I think, if somebody spots a typo and writes you back. So that can be a blessing in itself. But I love that you just dash them off
Well,
so
that's what I
easily.
learned too from you is like it's not about always selling and the response you get for selling. It's more about when people just reply to your email and comment on it.
Yes. Right, exactly. When they engage like that, first of all, it's priming them to buy from you because that's the connection that you're forming
Yeah.
where people know, like, and trust you and have engaged with you so they feel like you're a friend. And we buy from people we know, like, and trust. We buy from, we like to buy from friends and recommend them.
Yeah.
So it keeps you top of mind. And it also makes them more inclined to take out their credit card and say, oh, I got to work with this guy because I feel like I know him. And he's
Right.
the one. And it makes you the go to.
Yeah. And people think
Yeah.
email doesn't work anymore, but it works better than ever.
It really does, and the more, noise there is on social platforms, the more different platforms we're convinced we have to be on, and the more things that we're checking, the less inclined we are to see any one thing, a person posts, right?
Yeah.
So if you're counting on social to, for your reach and to reach people, you are out of luck. because first of all, the algorithms are just screwing with us all.
Right.
Second of all, like, the way we scroll through any one platform, especially if we're on multiple of them, is like a few minutes, just scroll, 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 see what catches our eye.
Yep.
You're very lucky if you're one of the posts that catches somebody's eye, right? But in an inbox, nobody's opening every email in their inbox, right? But
Mhm.
we are looking at every single email in our inbox, deciding whether to open it or not. We see generally every single email that lands in our inbox, unless it's the junk promos.
Right.
So if you're in someone's primary inbox, they are seeing everything that you send them, and whether or not they open it or are trained to open everything that you send, that is up to you and the quality of your subject lines and your emails and your preview text too. That's another
Right.
little trick, which you know. So that's where email is such an advantage over and a must. Like if you're not using email, then I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Um,
Good luck sending those LinkedIn messages to get business.
yeah,
If I get
right.
another one of those.
Oh my gosh, right. You can pitch people in their inbox all day long and it's just delete, 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 block, block, block. Like they don't want to hear your pitch. But if it's in their inbox and you've been building a connection with them, building a relationship with them
Yeah.
through your stories, through your emails, then they are way more likely to click on that link and say, yes, I want to buy this.
It's a long-term business strategy because, like you said, the algorithms change constantly, so they're always messing with us. You get something
Yes.
working and it's like, boom, it dies.
Right. Oh my gosh. I was doing great on Instagram for years. Like I started really going for it in 2017 and built up
Mhm.
an Instagram following and was posting regularly, s- like I was like, I'm really going to stick to this. And I did. And it was very rewarding for a while. And suddenly views, engagement, likes have dropped by, I don't know, 80%.
Yeah.
Maybe 90%. I mean, it's wild, and I've looked at other people in my kind of in my circle and people with followings twice the size of mine, 5 times the size of mine, and I've seen it with them too. It's like normally they get, 5,000 likes, and today it's 200
Yeah.
on a post. It is wild. So, which tells me that tells me not that we are all less likable and that we're putting out garbage now. It's that the algorithm is not showing people our posts.
Yeah.
So, and that's, it's the opposite in the inbox. Like
So now
people will,
everybody's selling TikTok courses.
yes, right, exactly.
And then
That was
what's
the
after
last thing I
TikTok?
heard.
Who knows? But
Yes,
our
and
email
I
list
got
will always be there.
yes, right, and I got on TikTok in 2020 and meant to build it up, and I didn't. I did like, one video of myself hula hooping, and that was, like maybe one of me making fun of pointing at words by pointing at words to music, and then I just did a few more like recently because someone's like, TikTok's the only place to grow right now. And I gave it a little bit of a shot and I have to keep going with it, but I'm not gonna rely on those. It's
Right.
just for audience growth. That's just for list growth. It's
Yeah.
certainly not to get my message out there. That's what email is for.
Right. Exactly. So what do we get with her?
Inbox
And
hero.
look what else I have. Look how
Yeah.
thick
Oh,
that
launch
is.
hero. Wow.
That's
That
like
is
huge. It's like
that is really
inch and
thick.
a
That
half
is
thick.
I'm so impressed. I love that you bound those and printed them out, and thank you for showcasing them and showcasing your success with them. You were one of my favorite success stories.
Thank
You
you.
did so much with it, and I really appreciate this time to talk about it with people. So, if anyone watching is interested, Inbox Hero goes away in. Oh, thank you.
Look at
There's the
that.
link right there, talkingshrimp.com/inbox hero, and it goes away next Wednesday at midnight Eastern. So now's the time, and I have these amazing bonuses. Dad, I've got to shoot them to you. I'm gonna offer them to alums as a package, but I'm gonna remind me if I forget. Like they are yours. You
Thank
won
you.
them. But one of them is called the Genius Index, and that's like a template so that you can set up all your emails and stories that you tell in this grid and and rummage for them next time you're high and dry and don't have time to write a new story. Like reuse that great content. And the other is my secret stash of my top 100 subject lines for the last 5 years in order,
Mhm.
with the emails that went with them. So that is pay dirt,
That's awesome.
something I haven't given out before. So
Yeah, you write the best subject lines. I love it.
thank
I'm running
you.
a scam. Look at the scam I'm running or something. That's what we should
That was a popular one.
get.
People love that email. I got a
But
lot of
like you said, we're
responses
just
to that.
skimming through our inbox, and that's what grabs your attention, makes them
Yeah.
read.
Yep, exactly. Well, Ted, thank you so much for this. I know you've got a heart out. You've got an 11:30 call, so I
Yes,
really
thank you
appreciate you
so much.
making the time and showing me to your people. So, it's everyone, thanks for watching, and Ted, thank you.
Okay, well, we'll talk soon.
All right, bye.